it's one of the things I don't do after a while is go back and, well, let me say, like for the 48-hour film projects,
Oh boy.
where you do it, you're 2 days, you get all this done, and afterwards, I have talent. I have other people in the crew saying, "Okay, now can we go back and maybe re-edit and maybe shoot this?" Like, no, it's done. It's good. And I look at the mistakes. Yes, the mistakes are there. Deal with it. We move on. It's good enough for government work.
Exactly.
And we're happy. And that's what that exercise was. There are some things you want to go back and change and tweak and things, but those are projects that aren't finished. They haven't been screened yet. If they're screened, that's what it is. You know,
Right.
I have a problem going back and because then it's like the client, you know, well, okay, well, I'm paying you for 2 hours of editing, but I want 25 hours afterwards of tweaking edits that are just on you. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. You know, you can't just continue.
I've delivered.
This is what you asked for. This is what you got. If you want me to change it, it's another contract. You know, deal with it.
Well, I think we've all fallen into that. I know I feel like Greg has fallen in that too, where you deliver something and then they want to change and you think, okay, I'll do one change, and then you do it and it's like 15 changes later, or in one of my cases, 15 changes in a year and a half later, they're still asking me to edit it.
No,
That's happened to me.
no.
Yeah, I've luckily learned from Mickey some stuff, or some from mistakes, but some also just like Mickey's warnings. I've been lucky to have that little angel on my shoulder because like now whenever people, especially event coverage, I'm like, all right, when I have the first X minutes, or if it's like 5 videos, I'm going to send you the first one. It's going to be a low res version. You tell me what you like and don't like about how I cut that, and I'm going to take all that into account as I finish the rest of it. And that's it. I'm not going back and exporting and rendering 5 videos.
Yeah,
No.
because the uploading to the internet, that's your time, that's your waste
Right.
of time.
Your time. You're paying for that
bandwidth,
upload, the bandwidth going up and down.
Yeah,
But
that's wasted
it's
time. You
something
could be
that
watching Game of Thrones. You know.
Not yet. Next season's coming real soon, but winter is almost here. But we have. But you're right. But it's something that you need to get. Something I've come to agree, or understand, is you need to have that information stated and understood and signed off on before you even start anything.
Yeah.
Because there's others. Well, that's not really what we agreed to. Well, yes, it is. Here it is in writing.
It's literally what we agreed to.
I don't mean to be mean, but here it is. You know, it's like this is a business.
Yeah.
It's like those memes I see going around Facebook. You know, where this is what the client thinks they're getting, and this is what they actually paid for. You know, it's like, you know, the iPhone on the tripod versus big cinema with the
That's what I
Techno
always,
crane.
I always tell
Techno
people,
crane.
I can shoot any budget. If you've got $50, I can shoot it, but you do not get to decide what I'm shooting with.
Exactly.
That's not how it works. You know, and it's very much like, you can tell me what you want, and I'll get as close as I can, but there are limitations.
Yeah. But then there comes the time when you have the toys and you really want to play with them, and it's like, all right, fine, then you're going to get something really good because I'm playing here.
Well, generally, especially when you got someone who's like really chill and doesn't have they're not asking for the moon. There's kind of like the biggest examples of musicians. I shoot a lot of musicians, and I'm like, they're just like, look, I just need someone to come out. I'm playing for an hour, throw a camera on a tripod, make the sound clean up to be bearable, and just give it to me. They're like, it doesn't need to be edited, doesn't need anything. And I'm like, all right, well, got this C100 at the office. Let's give that a test run. And then suddenly they're like, oh my God. And you're like, just want to try, and they're like super appreciate. And those are the people I like to help out.
As long as I don't expect it every time.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. And I make it very clear what I've done.
Well, what's interesting about that is doing that. I had there's a local guy, musician, that does all the scores for my films, Phil, the Tremolo King. And that was kind of like a backhand deal me and him always had, where I always would shoot his gigs and he would like score all my films. It was always
there. You go.
And now it worked out beautifully until now I don't have a camera though, but but that was always our deal. And like,
be a rebel.
It does not. He shoots in a lot of like low
I just
light.
can't handle
would
it.
never be able to handle it. Yeah. Even
Just
with
bring some LED lights out. He can deal with it. Yes.
Nothing wrong with LEDs.
Well, in the middle of a
At
bar
times.
when people are trying to get into the mood.
Sure. Yeah, just kind of blast it, no problem. Well, this is when the A7 or one of the very low light cameras really matter. And that's when the whole camera lust and the the gear porn happens, and you see all.
We
the
love
new
to
cameras.
talk big game about, and it's a poor artist who blames his tools, but there are some nice tools.
There's some nice tools.
There's some pretty toys with big red buttons.
I mean, it's the same thing. You know, I love my wife. I do. I love you.
Oh God, where's this going?
However, you see that one woman walking down. Okay, never mind. But I'll show you pictures of her later. No, but Tracy, you know I love you. But
with equipment, you can rent it.
Well,
legally.
we could say the same thing, but we won't go there. All right, no, okay.
See, what he's trying to tell you is that you're like his Canon Rebel. It's that you're.
Okay, thank you. Look, I can dig my own grave, all right? And I'm very good at it. I've been doing
Where's
it for
that
a
shovel?
long time. Yeah, yeah.
Oh God.
Still in my backyard with the other graves. All right, it's the graves are still there from the summer.
Oh, from the 48?
From the 48.
Every year we all get excited. We forget what it felt like after the 48. Oh. We always forget.
It's every year, the day after, the Monday after the 48, I am telling everyone, I am not doing this again. Why did I do it? I'm crazy.
Well, you have don't usually when the Monday comes, usually you're teaching by then.
Oh yeah, I get up in the morning, dead tired, and I start teaching.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd never again. And then I turn around, it's like, well, maybe one more time. What the heck? And then and then of course it comes around.
It's your friends. I mean,
it's my friend. Come on, let's. All
shoot.
Right.
Which, by the way, if you are there's different people have different opinions on the 48, and I have some very strong developed ones in the past year. But there is one thing I think that is good about the 48 for sure, is that especially if you're new and you're like, oh my God, how do I meet people? How do I test things? Or if you're in a department you don't want to be in or something, 48's an amazing time to try departments, dip your foot in film in a low risk environment where it's like the worst case scenario is you spend the weekend with your friends shooting something and it looks like crap. That is the worst case scenario.
That is. Well, yeah.
It is. I mean, seriously.
You might be with people who aren't your friends, and you might.
But you know what? Then that's not the people you want to take a risk with. No. That's the thing. It's like if you're on a production and they pull you on and they know you've never done film before and they have an impossible standard, that's their fault. And it's like don't do crappy jobs. Yeah, but then that's a poor group who blames you, and you don't want to work with them anyway, right? Yeah. And it's hard to get blacklisted because of a 48 film.
It is. You're right. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, we always try to do the best we can.
Exactly.
Always, but
you have 48 hours.
You have 48 hours, and it is what it is when you're done. And which I'm not really a big fan of that phrase, but it really makes sense here. You know, what you come up with is it, and that's the nature of the beast. But you're right. If you want to get started, this is a great join a team, be a PA, stay up for 48 hours, and help and do something. I have a kid who's on our team, has been on our team for the past 4 or 5 years. He's going to college now. I don't know where he's going to college. I got to ask him about that. Mississippi somewhere, I think. But he was our PA the first year, and then he was the VP of Anarchy. That's how he wanted his credit listed on at the end. And so VP of Anarchy. But he would do anything and everything we asked.
Right.
When he first started, his mom came and dropped him off and picked him up, and he spent the night on our couch, and it was all cool. And then a few years later, I said, I need you to be my boom guy. I don't have a boom guy.
Right.
Gave him a quick tutorial. He was listening.
Yep.
He was spot on with what he needed to do. I mean, It was like fantastic. And he was like, okay, I need you to go get this prop. Right. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Got it. No questions asked.
It's a good, especially if you got someone who you want to kind of bring into the film industry that you want to test. 48's great for that, and you're not exploiting them because you're all doing it on the same page.
Right.
And I will say the jumping departments thing is really big for me. I really can't emphasize that enough because I was a sound guy for a while, as Carl knows. I tend to keep that under my hat because I don't like people asking me to. And luckily, after a year and a half, people have basically stopped asking me for sound, which is great because there's a lot better people than I am at it. But my third 48, I DP'd, and that was the noticeable difference in the phone calls I was getting. It was when I DP'd a 48 and people saw my name, I wasn't good enough to DP a real film yet. I was learning camera. I knew cameras.
Right.
But DP'ing is a lot more than technical knowledge, and I did some good work. I made some mistakes. I had a great gaffer and an amazing director behind me, and that's why I kind of was able to pull it off. But that 48 is the reason people started to call me a cam op and a DP, whether I deserved it or not. And
Right.
The 48 opened that door for me because that was where I did it. And so I don't know, it's just interesting because like there's definitely some issues to have with it, but there's definitely a place for it.